Hello, welcome to Corona Walks 11. Today I want to cover a new topic that I've not talked about before: risk and greed. Yes, greed. People being selfish. People doing what they want and not caring about the consequence for others. Look around me here. Behind me you can see someone's just cut all this down. There used to be beautiful woods here, mixed trees, all sorts of wonderful, interesting things would grow amongst the trees, mushrooms, bushes, hedges. They've been chopped down, turned into wood. This is fine. But what replaces it? Look over there. Every tree identical, the same. No change. Nothing grows there. It's sterile. The owner of the land gets money because this produces timber fast. It pours acid all over the soil. You no longer get the interesting mushrooms and the fauna and the vegetation. And there are less animals. And it's not so beautiful. It's still very nice compared to being in a city, but it's a different experience. What's worse is that we paid taxes to subsidize the farmer to do exactly that. Let's go back to this subject of corona. What's going on at the moment? We're seeing different countries attempting different strategies. The one thing they all have in common is they're failing. We are not managing corona. Wherever you go in the Western world, the numbers are up. One or two little glowing exceptions, New Zealand clinging on tightly to its position, but it's very lucky geographically. It takes a very long time to go there from anywhere. And they police their borders quite strongly. But Europe's in a state. Britain is in a terrible state. France is in a terrible state. We're now told the number of people in hospital in the NHS is equal to what it was in March. The amount of money that's been spent, or should I say given, because when you spend money you normally get something back. We spent £12 billion, which we gave to a company to create a test and trace app, and we got back nothing. It doesn't work. We then had to use the app that everyone told us we should use in the first place, which works, but it's not quite so effective. It's a pig's ear. It's absolute rubbish. And this is our taxes again. We were told that various procedures would be put in place. And the latest one we've heard about in the UK is traffic lights. We were told that people would return to university and everything would be okay. Because when they told the universities to open in September, they told them that we'd have track and trace working by September. It doesn't work. And now we've got students sitting in halls of residence. If you've ever been in a student room, unless you were lucky enough to go to Oxbridge where you get these rather luxurious rooms, or you pay for luxury accommodation, for most people student accommodation is actually smaller than a prison cell. And then you're told you're banged up in there and you can't go out because you might spread the virus. And we're seeing numbers in the hundreds. I think of the 200 universities in the UK, something like 90 are experiencing quite heavy outbreaks. Was this sensible? We're being told by the leaders of different councils and cities around the country that they are finding out what the government policy is from the media, not from the government. They get a 10-minute phone call if they're lucky before it's due to start. There seems to be no planned response. Now, we could deal with this virus, and we could deal with it much, much more effectively. And we need to grapple this thing by the horns. If we want to manage the virus, then we need to manage the virus. If we want to save the economy and forfeit the people, then simply carry on as we are, because this is working very well. People are getting sick, people are getting infected, they're passing on the infection, and meanwhile Mr. Weatherspoons and some of the other mates of the government are able to carry on serving in their pubs, even in the most infected areas, simply on the basis that they also serve food. And if you don't serve food, then you can't open your pub. It's a pig's ear. The rules change from one street to the next. When are you allowed to meet people? Where are you allowed to meet people? It doesn't work. It's not clear. People don't know what the guidelines are. We need something that's absolutely clear. Now, one possibility is another lockdown, and we may come to that anyway. In fact, I would be surprised if things don't get so bad that by Christmas they use the Christmas break to have a 2-3 week lockdown and try and stem the flow of the infections then. But that's not the solution, and it won't make it go away. It'll carry on. There is a solution, one possible solution, and that's a vaccine. The vaccine is not here. We don't even know if it's going to be here, and we don't know, even if it's going to be here, whether it'll work, or whether it'll work for everybody or just some people. Will it work on the people who are most vulnerable? Who do we give it to? How many of them do we need? There is another way of dealing with this virus, and I've been saying this now in the last 10 videos. We need to stop locking down the people who don't have the infection and start locking down the people who do. And there is one way we can do this. We test everybody. We make it compulsory and everybody has a test. And if you're positive, you get locked down and you don't get out for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it takes. In the case of Mr. Trump, I think about 24 hours and you're better. But for everybody else, a couple of weeks at least. And then it's safe for you to come out again, probably with another test. We have hotels standing empty everywhere. We could be doing this. Get 65 million tests, organise a week when we're going to do it, test everybody, everyone positive gets locked down. A week later, test everybody again, another 65 million tests. And then we know where the virus is, where it's still hiding in little pockets, and have some laws with teeth that make sure that anybody that is told to lock down really does lock down. The nonsense we have seen during this last couple of months, protests, people refusing to wear masks. It's strange, in England you seem to be able to come up with various health reasons why you don't need to wear a mask. Most of mainland Europe, you come up with a mask, or you come up with €1,000 or €250 or whatever the fine is. It's amazing how many people don't have health reasons for not wearing a mask when there's €1,000 fine. It solves the problem rather quickly. If the government want to stamp this out, that's what we have to do. They're doing it in China and it works. In Tsingtao, yesterday, they found 12 people, and I think 8 of them didn't even have symptoms. This week, they're testing 9 million. The entire population of that area will be tested. And if they find any more cases, they will be locked down. And as for the rest of the people, they can go about their business. They can go to work. They can travel to restaurants, do all the things that we need to do, and we protect our economy. It's that simple. I don't understand why our government can't work this out for themselves. Or do they actually have another reason why they want this to continue? It almost makes you wonder whether the conspiracy theories are true. Personally, I don't credit them with that much intelligence. But it's time the government started to listen to the scientists. The science says if you test everybody, you find where it is. If you find where it is, you lock down the people who've got it. It's absolutely that simple.